What's going on, Starfield fans? Welcome back to the channel. Okay, folks, I will level with you here. If you told me that I was going to be making this video a month ago, I wouldn't have believed you. Starfield's release, while totally epic and amazing, has been also met with some backlash from the community. So today I've decided to put together a list of disappointing parts of Starfield that either come from folks in the Starfield community or come from my own experiences instead of opinions about the game. As always, I appreciate all the engagement this channel's been getting lately. I'm working hard to make better and better videos for you guys, so keep those clicks coming. Be sure to hit the thumbs up and the notification thing to catch more Starfield content. Again, this video is done with full support from the T-Rex Army. Link to their Discord in the description below. Please do remember that these are just my opinions after all, and you do not have to agree with them. But let's get into it with the first thing. So I wanted to knock this one out right away, as it's one of the biggest things that I see in the Starfield community as far as complaints go, and that's loading screens instead of smooth landing. People, for some reason, wanted the game to be exactly like No Man's Sky, where you are in your ship, you smoothly fly down from space, land onto a planet and or moon, get out of your ship, do what you got to do, and then you can get back on it and then take off smooth with no loading screens whatsoever. I'm not sure of the exact numbers that this would take, but I think the amount of data that this would take would be astronomical. I also do not believe that they sat around at this meeting at Bethesda and said, hey, can we try to do the No Man's Sky type landing? And then they were like, no, we can't do that. Or, yeah, we can do that, but let's not. I don't think that that's how the conversation would have went. And I also don't think that this was completely missed by Bethesda either. I think that the decision to have loading screens instead of the type of requested landing that people want here, I believe that that choice was intentional, and I believe it was a data-saving choice. And with all that being said, this personally isn't something that I echo with the community. This does not break my immersion in the game. I still have plenty of fun playing the game despite this not being in the game, and I don't miss it, but if they did add it, I wouldn't be against it, Bethesda. You can do it if you want. Moving away from the community-driven complaints and onto something a bit more personal, that's going to be the story choice that Bethesda chose to give the protagonist superpowers over high tech. For those of you that have been following my stream for a while now, you would remember that I did make a statement that I wanted our character to have a high-tech style of superpowers instead of it being magic. I was actually very personally disappointed that Bethesda chose to pretty much just make us the Dragonborn in space. Obviously, I know that something needed to happen. I personally wanted it to be more tech-based and more practical-based because I don't know about anybody else, but this game feels much more real to me because it's based in real canon, a life that we are seeing around us. NASA is a real thing, and at Starfield, they chose to make the basis for that story entrenched in that reality. So for me, it personally is more visceral, and it makes it more fun that it is that universe that it's set in. However, I am kind of disappointed that we are, as I said, the Dragonborn in space. Just imagine what the story would be if instead of we going and searching these random planets and moons for superpowers, but for incredibly rare minerals and materials that we have to mine to power high-tech devices that can allow us to bend space and time and manually control gravity like we do with these superpowers. I think that that would have been a much more interesting choice. However, I'm still okay with the power system. Like I said, there has to be a system in place, and it wasn't bad what Bethesda chose. I just wish it was different. That's all. This third one is something that I have seen plenty of from the Starfield community, and it's also something that I echo, and that's going to be lifeless NPCs. So something that's really hitting the Starfield community in the immersion feels is the universe of Starfield is incredibly vast, but it feels strangely empty due to lack of life from the NPCs. You're exploring these fantastic planets and moons, but there's often no one there to interact with, making the universe feel a tad lonely. We were hoping for a bit more vibrant living worlds. This is a Bethesda game, and we're used to that type of stuff from a game like Skyrim, where you could move from one point to the next point and you probably talk to 2, 3, maybe even a half dozen NPCs just on the way, and each of those NPCs had a name and a story to them. You're walking around New Atlantis in the Starfield universe and everybody has the same name. It's just tons and tons of nameless, faceless NPCs that just fill space but don't add or breathe any life into the game. Something that I hope that Bethesda listens to and patches into the game would just be a random name generator. That's my idea. Just instead of having Crimson Fleet Pirate and, just everybody being named that, just give them names like Pirate Steve, Pirate Joe, Pirate Karen. Just do something with a random name generator in a future patch. I think that would definitely breathe a lot of life into the game. Also, it's a little weird that there's only one child in the entire galaxy in Korra, but whatever. Hopefully we could fix that in a future patch as well, Bethesda, if you're listening. So number 4 is going to be one of my personal complaints, and that's going to be the quest story gaps. I don't know about you guys, but there's definitely some quests and or details about quests that seem rushed in this game. The first thing that comes to mind would be the mission where you are sent to the moon, our moon in the Sol system, Earth's moon, and then you eventually actually get sent to Earth to go investigate the origins of Grab Drive. Now, when you get to Earth, you come across this NASA station, and it's literally the only thing there. Just this relatively in shape. Yeah, it's beat up. I get it. They tried to make it look beat up, but compared to its surroundings, it's immaculate, honestly, because its surroundings are just a bunch of rocks and sand and desert. Now, my main complaint here, Bethesda, is that structure looked fantastic, and that sand and that gravel and those rocks in the desert looked fantastic, but there's just no continuity there. It doesn't make any sense. Why would this station be here but nothing else? No roads, no other structures, no other signs of life except this one square block with a spaceship attached to it. I get it. The game has to get put out at a certain point and we have to get there, but this is just details that I don't think should get missed, Bethesda. Another kick in the immersion butt would have been when you're first joining the Crimson Fleet. They basically say that once you join the Crimson Fleet, you're in it for life. And the only real option to get out of the Crimson Fleet is death. And you're like, whoa, Crimson Fleet pirates, they're awesome. They're badass. However, once you actually get into the Crimson Fleet quest line, you do one quest, come back, and then Delgado actually tells you about this guy that used to be in the Crimson Fleet that they just kicked out. They didn't kill him. It wasn't exit by death. It wasn't Fleet for life like it was Fast and the Furious and F is for Fleet and Family or whatever. They just kicked him out. And then we actually go and work with him and we just get him back in. And it not even a big deal. It breaks continuity in the way that somebody would think that the Crimson Fleet would be organized. And it's just something that where the game misses on human nature. And it breaks immersion for me. I didn't like it whatsoever. Lastly, we're going to talk about the whole concept of skill points being used for basic tasks. So last but not least, let's talk about the skill system. In Starfield, you need to invest skill points in basic activities like lockpicking or sneaking. It's somewhat frustrating that you have to spend skill points just to perform essential actions like these. We're hoping for a more streamlined approach from Bethesda that doesn't hinder the gameplay experience. It doesn't make much sense that Bethesda would say that this is a very sandboxy, open world type game, and then we have to do something like invest skill points to try to sneak or pick a lock. Just think about it. It just doesn't really make much sense, because I have no proficiency in real life at lockpicking, but I can still try. And your character should be able to try, but fail at these skills. And then you can decide to invest skill points if you want. So there you guys have it. 5 disappointments from either the community or myself that we had hoped not to see in the game of Starfield, but alas, here they are. Despite these letdowns, it's essential to remember that every game has its quirks, and our experiences are going to vary. I'm personally hopeful that Bethesda is going to listen and patch all this stuff out and fix everything that we want. Modders are also going to come in. They're going to add to the game. The game has a very bright future, and despite all of these things that I listed today, I'm excited for the future of the game, and I hope that you guys are too. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to hit like, subscribe to the channel, share these videos. I'm working hard to make them better for you guys, so clicks are very important to me right now. Keep them coming, and I'll see you in the next one.